We're privileged, right? So I might be a black man, but I still am a man, and there are certain privileges I enjoy. We can never forget that, right? I feel safe in almost all environments I'm in. For men that didn't have other men to look up to, that's difficult. I think we're trying to help each other out. I think going to therapy and therapy being a thing and understanding that men can also now show emotion. We can be vulnerable.
Welcome to Who's Missing, a podcast that gets you thinking about who's missing from your world, at work and in life. Today, we're talking to Simba Gandari. At present, he is a student at Harvard getting his master's degree in education leadership, organizations, and entrepreneurship, and he's a Zimbabwean immigrant. I met Simba more than a decade ago as one of his coaches at a nonprofit where I worked. And after you hear this interview, you will know why. His name has never left my memory. Just saying his name makes me smile. Today, he joins me to discuss mentorship and how it's changed his life, the power of underestimation, and navigating what it means to be a man, as a husband, as a father, as a friend. His path to Harvard had a lot of twists and turns, and I'm sure those will continue. But look, he always bets on himself, and he can't lose there. And he's kept going. He's such an inspiring person to talk to. When I think about Simba, the word that comes to mind for me is hope. I'm Emily Drake, and this is Who's Missing. Tell me who's missing.
Hey,
Hey!
how's it going?
How is it go? I can't just be like, everything's
Yeah,
copacetic. I feel so many things this morning. How many things are you feeling?
quite a lot, quite a
Yeah,
lot. But I'm jealous of you though. You were on vacation.
I
Yeah,
was. I think
I need
that's,
one.
yeah, I bet. Tell us how you grew up.
So I grew up in Harare, Zimbabwe. It's in Southern Africa. I grew up upper middle class. The population of Zimbabwe is about 80% black,
Mm-hmm.
20% white. However, my dad sent me to boarding schools, private boarding schools, and the population there was actually 80% white, 20% black. So it
Mm-hmm.
was a very interesting childhood in that I almost never felt like I fit because at that boarding school, very rich class, and I wasn't quite there. I leave there and then I go back home, and then it's like, oh, here's the boarding school kid coming back home, and
Mm-hmm.
just not fitting in with the neighborhood there too. So it was just a interesting childhood.
What do you make of fitting in, or how do you do the dance between fitting in and sort of like complying and like being who you are? Can these two things coexist?
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard because right now I'm at Harvard, right? And it's a predominantly white institution. You want to be who you are, but you also realize the spaces you're in may not be conducive to your true authentic self. So it's like it
Mm-hmm.
is a dance. I like that you use that word. It is a dance in that you are trying to be something and then you come home and you're your authentic self. And it's hard. I
Mm-hmm.
think I've had lots of years to practice, and I'm leaning more, I think, the older I get to just being who I am in almost all my spaces, but I'm not quite there yet.
What feels like the thing, I imagine you like a speedboat and then you've got an anchor, right? Like, so you're starting to express yourself more and kind of be who you are. What's the thing that maybe you're holding out on a little bit? What feels?
Just not having the power yet, right? Maybe if I ran my own organization, I could be fully who I want to be. But understanding that some of the organizations that I will go and work in are going to be run by other people, I feel like I don't have that power yet. I know that a lot of power comes from within, but it's that trying to figure out how can I fit in, but also be my authentic self and slowly become more of my authentic self in these predominantly white spaces.
Yeah. And I appreciate you sort of acknowledging, like, slowly, because man, with this progress stuff, it is too damn slow. Is sort of how
Yeah.
I'm like, patience, right? Little by little, I get it, but all of this should have happened yesterday. So, how do you? I also sense Simba, and part of what I've always admired about you is this like humble confidence, this sort of a cheerful, quiet, but like funny confidence. Where's the fire in you? When do you get pissed? When do you get angry? What gets you angry?
I'm always
Always
angry,
angry.
actually.
Yes. See?
Always.
See? The
I'm
peaceful
always
warrior
spicy.
is angry,
Yeah.
right?
I'm always that way. But I've also realized that, the connotations of a black man being angry, how much can you achieve, right? So I think approaching it from like that humbleness, an example of that is I used to have on LinkedIn my Simba Gandari, comma, MBA. And then I was like, I want to be underestimated. I want people to just think I'm just this person, and I don't want them to associate all these other things that may come through. So having that fire that, like, I'm in this company to become the CEO. I'm not in this company to just go in and do the day to day. I want to be the CEO, if not become my own CEO for my own company. So I've got this drive, and slowly you'll see it, but I will let you underestimate me.
Going back to Zimbabwe and growing up in boarding school and having this duality of it all. Who underestimated you growing up?
My father underestimated me. I really wanted to be a professional soccer player, and he was not having it. He was like, no, 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 no. Books first, books first. And I was like, Dad, I'm really good. Like, I'm the best. No, 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 books first. What if you break your leg? And I'm like, come on, give me a chance. I always wanted to prove that I could be anything. Just give me the tools, give me the resources, and I will do it.
Yeah, I wonder. I was feeling a little. Look, I'm first day back from vacation, so I was feeling a little slow this morning, and I picked up this book, Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. And I was just
Nice.
sort of leafing through it, and there's this power lifter. His name's Ed Cohen, never heard of him, but he's apparently known as being like the best, like the world's greatest, right? And he says his dad once said to him that I know never to die and have my wake or funeral on a lifting day because I know you won't be there. Because
Wow.
Ed is so committed to his routines. What was coming up for me, and I'm wondering what you think about this, when I think about like how I want to get to where I want to go, I know that there's a level of like discipline. And then there's moments like with Isaac and Isaiah where it's like, give me some milk, man. Like, so whatever plan you had, good luck.
It's out. Right.
How do you, I mean, I appreciate it, right? We love people who are
Yeah.
really disciplined and it makes sense, right? But that's another dance. How do you dance that dance?
It's extremely difficult, especially because most of my classmates don't have kids. So it's like they have a lot more time on their hand. And then I just learned about this word, a resource rich university. So used to being in under resourced areas that I'm finally in a resource rich area, and there's just so much to do and so many options, so many things happening. But I've also got to be a father and a husband. So it's a hard dance. There are times where I've definitely had to ask Katie, my wife, to support me and say, Katie, I really need to go do this. Can you please help me out? A funny example is I'm a huge Shark Tank fan, and Kevin O'Leary was on campus. It was right smack in the middle of when we feed the twins. And my goal is always to be there when the twins are eating between 5 p.m. and like 6:30. But his thing started at 5. And I was like, all right, Katie, we both love Shark Tank, and I'm just asking, please, can I go and watch Kevin O'Leary speak for a few minutes? And she's like, of course, go ahead. And then I went and I watched him, and it was like an amazing opportunity to watch a shark live in action.
That's incredible.
And I'm only able to do it because of the support I have coming from my wife.
Is there anything you want to go to the journey from Zimbabwe to leaving Zimbabwe? And I know that the United States wasn't your first destination. It was your second destination, right? How did did you always know that you'd leave Zimbabwe? And when you go back, or if you go back, what is it like for you?
I always knew I'd leave. It's a small country, 12 million people, but I think what hastened my leaving was the fact that our economy was in trouble. We were actually going through a huge depression, and we still are. There was just very limited opportunities for an 18 and 19-year-old coming out of high school. So it was more an option of you got to leave so that you can help your family out, right? The 60 to 70% of high school graduates all left the country and went somewhere. Some went right across the border to South Africa. Quite a big majority went to England, Australia, came to the US. I left and I went to India, spent about 2 years there.
I've been there too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah.
city?
I was in Southwest. I was sort of came into Mysore and then did Kerala and kind of the Indian Sea sort of side of the country. It's enormous.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's enormous. It's
Yeah.
enormous. I was in Delhi, the capital, 30 million people, hustling and bustling with them, living in the slums.
Yeah.
It was an interesting experience for a 19-year-old, but it was a great experience. It helped me grow up. Yeah, I've returned a few times to Zimbabwe. It's been odd. I didn't return for about 8, 9 years. I think you always think when you come back to something, it'll be the same way you left it. And it's been far from it. It's been far from it. It was great to catch up with friends, but I got to a time where and still do. I know Chicago and Milwaukee streets more than I know my hometown streets in Harare. It's an odd feeling, but going back is always fun. We're firmly planted here in the US.
Who was the person you looked to as 18-year-old Simba who had done what you wanted to do, which was go abroad? Was there someone mentoring you through that transition? I know your dad pushed you, yeah, but what would you say?
No, there really wasn't. I just fellow classmates. I think we all kind of would chat. This was in the early days of Facebook, and we would send each other messages on each other's walls and emails and just kind of chat with each other. But there really wasn't a blueprint. And interestingly enough, my closest friends, none of us actually had guidance from our fathers. Some of them had lost their fathers at an early age, and some of them just didn't know their fathers at all. Like literally never met them. And then some, like myself, knew I had a dad, but I never got any real emotional support. So we were just winging it ourselves, and we just kind of said, hey, we're going to be our own fathers and we're going to guide each other through different things. And that's what's helped. And I still have that type of relationship. We call each other consultants. We consult on each other's lives, and we help give ourselves guidance.
There's something coming up for me right now. It's like a little bit of sad and a little bit of feeling proud of you. And then there's a little bit of like just love, like what it takes to choose your family and to father each other. I'm sure you're doing a lot of reading and thinking and living what it is to be identified as a man these days. My experience moving in and out of communities with men is that consultants piece. The part where, you said your dad wasn't like the emotional support, wasn't like you can do it, wasn't maybe available for that. How do you see it being for men living in the world today? And look, I'm aware, I'm literally asking you to speak on behalf of an entire generation, but just your experience being a man these days.
We're privileged, right? So I might be a black man, but I still am a man, and there are certain privileges I enjoy. We can never forget that, right? I feel safe in almost all environments I'm in. For men that didn't have other men to look up to, that's difficult. I think we're trying to help each other out. I think going to therapy and therapy being a thing and understanding that men can also now show emotion. We can be vulnerable. I was watching this thing, Kier Gaines on Instagram, amazing father, and he always has these gems. And I watched one of his reels, and it was about it's okay to be vulnerable in front of your kids as well. And I was just like thinking to myself, I'm like, I never saw my dad be vulnerable. You have to be a tough guy. Guys don't cry, all that kind of thing. So it's tough, but not in the traditional sense. We still enjoy a lot of privileges, but it is tough in terms of learning to be a new type of man, which is a man that provides that emotional support, a man that is vulnerable to his partner and to his kids, just navigating that world. And also recognizing that we grew up in a toxic environment, especially at the boarding school as an all boys, a lot of toxic masculinity and a lot of things we did that, it's looking back at it, you're like, wow, how did we do that? Why did we do that? And just unpacking some of that.
Simba Gandari's choice for this week's Spotlight is Complete College America. CCA is a bold national advocate for dramatically increasing college completion rates and closing institutional performance gaps by working with states, systems, all the heavy hitters, institutions, and partners, the partners that have cash to scale highly effective structural forms and promote policies that improve student success. That sounds like a complicated job. So thank you, CCA, for trying to make it more streamlined. Simba wanted to be really specific about saying he was inspired by their SVP and Chief of Staff, Donfu Elston. Thank you, thank you. To learn more, visit www.completecollege.org. And now, back to the show. I'm having this moment now of like, you have literally, it's been 30 minutes. I came in feeling, let's just say on a scale of 1 to 10, like my energy was like a 5. Feeling good, but like physically like, brr. And I'm like 10 now. I'm like, where's the trampoline? Let's jump. And that's you. That's you. You are, you inspire no matter in what context or format. So thank you for just showing up. Okay. You're in India. You learned a lot, but learned also it's not where you're going to stay. So what's day one in the United States like?
Confusing. I have no idea.
I can't imagine.
See, the image of the U.S., and it's improved now because the internet is quite a thing, and you can literally explore other countries now. But I get there and I'm like, where are the palm trees and the things I used to see in Beverly Hills 90210? I'm like, this is rural South Carolina, and it's country. It's something like I've never seen before.
I just appreciate kind of the journey then, and, coming to Chicago, which is where I met you, what it must have been like, right? To come to such a big city. Mm-hmm. But you love Chicago like I do, a complex city. Mm-hmm. As you think about your leadership journey today and, all the studying you're doing and being in Harvard and envisioning your CEO-dom, wherever it is, maybe you'll be a shark someday. We don't know. How does Chicago fit into the formation of who you are?
It's a huge part. I come in, I have to find a job, and I go work at Domino's. I'm a delivery driver, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I came to America, and here I am delivering pizza. I'm supposed to be providing for my family, and I can barely make enough to keep myself afloat. So I'm really disappointed, but it's a blessing in disguise because as I'm driving, I am learning the city. I am learning all the streets. There is not a street on the south side that I don't know because of my delivery driving. And initially we used to use these GPS systems, but you quickly learn that if by the time you punch it in and then it tells you how to get there, the other drivers have shut off. And as a delivery driver, the way you make your money is not through this hourly pay, which was like $2 an hour, but it was actually through the amount of deliveries you get in a night, right? So the quicker you out, the quicker you come back, the more deliveries over an 8-hour shift you have. Like, okay, I don't want to do Domino's anymore. I need to get a different job, but I have no idea how to write a resume. I have no idea how to do all these other things. So I find out about this program called Jobs for Youth, and I get there. These people treat us, as in black people, as like they're equals, and they're like, there's no excuses you can give them for being late or not showing up. They are demanding. They push us. It was you, and it was Mr. Smith. I just remember how you pushed us towards where we are now. You laid the foundation for a lot of us, and I'll forever be grateful for that. Tangible example is Mr. Smith was talking to us about Roth IRAs, right? So I've just finished Domino's. I barely got a cent to my name. I don't have any income at the time. And this guy's talking to me about saving money and putting it in a Roth IRA. I'm like, but that's the type of jam I've used now, right?
Yeah.
This is what, 15, 13, 14 years ago. It's the type of thing I'm now using now, and it's a seed that was planted. And then this lady reviews my resume. It's Emily Drake. Yeah, I like this. What about this? And then you're like helping me explain my experiences, and you're giving life to the things I've done, which I
Mm,
thought they were inconsequential or they were just not anything I should be proud of. But you're like,
mm,
no, put this there. You've got an associate's degree in
mm,
general business. Put that there. This is a great accomplishment. What did you do when you were there? And laying all that out. And
mm,
it was people like yourself that spoke life into us. And that's
mm,
why I forever will. We may never live in Chicago again, but I'll never forget that Chicago was like that turning point for me. It allowed
mm,
me to be the person I am now, and it was because I met people that spoke life into me while there.
mm. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just like life, right? I mean, all of these experiences then lead you to this place where, look, you fall in love with Katie, you start a family, and you've got your mom nearby. She moved, right? And
Yep.
I remember watching you on LinkedIn, kind of like watching you on the charts. And I'm like, what's going on? So I know that there's several points between now and then what gets you to the day where I'm assuming the consultants are sitting with you yet again. And you're like, am I going to apply to Harvard? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. You have a career, you're working, you're doing it. You are able to provide for yourself and your family. It's happening. And then you say, but wait, there's got to be more. Is that right?
Yes.
Walk us through that decision making process. Because I think there's a lot of people listening, myself included, when I'm listening to this, are like, yes, and how about this? And maybe not having the courage to try it. So tell us how that went.
I'm just never satisfied with something. I'm a big chess player, and I'm always thinking about the next move, and the move after that, and the move after that.
Yeah.
So it's just like in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm in my 30s. I have an MBA. I am in this position, but I quickly see the ceiling. And I'm
Mm,
like, I don't think I like
mm,
where this is. I don't like the ceiling. I think of my life being bigger than this. I want to continue the impact I'm at because I'm working in a community engagement department. I'm the operations manager, doing a lot of great work. I was able to send out $3 million in a year and a half to community colleges. In the back of my mind, I'm like, this is not it. I want to be able to give 30 million, 40 million, 50,
mm,
whatever it is. I need Harvard to get there.
mm,
And we're
mm,
settled. We've got a house, we've got everything. And I'm just like, we'll come back to it. But right now, just trust me. I believe Harvard will help me
mm,
have a greater impact on my own community and the communities that need the most work. So I felt myself pulled towards Harvard, and I looked at the cost of what to apply. It was
yeah.
$85. That's how much the application fee was. And it was also three recommendation letters as well as a 1,500 word essay.
Mm,
And I said to myself, those are things that, minus the recommendation letters, things that you can easily do within a
mm.
couple of weeks. Why don't you do it? That's why I pushed myself to doing it. And here we are.
I'd love to just hear you claim this before I ask you to give me and our listeners a bit of advice. Why are you someone people should know?
I believe I'm someone people should know because I represent going after your big dreams, that hopefulness that you can start at a community college and work your way through that and eventually get to Harvard without a 4.0, without the tools to be able to pay for expensive consultancies that help you get into these schools. With a lot of rejections, so many schools rejected me on the way to getting my MBA. Having that hope that something will turn out. If it's meant to be for me, it'll turn out, and I'm going to put in as much as I can to get there. Just never giving up on life, on anything. It's just, I always believe I have a chance. As long as I'm living and breathing, I have a chance. And if I have a 1% chance, I'm going to go for it.
What would you say to someone who's doubting? What would you say? Who doesn't feel like they have options?
Honestly, it's what do you have to lose? Especially if you're a minority. If you're a woman, you're a black person, you're Muslim, the world is already against you and you've got to fight so much. So why not go after it?
Yeah.
Why not piss him off? Why not piss him off and achieve it? Why not do it? And even it's so much satisfaction to actually doing it. And then now you've like proven them wrong, right? Proven them wrong and don't rub it in. Just keep moving because there's going to be more doubters that each level you get to.
Well, look, I adore you and I am so proud of you. And just keep me on your newsletter as you get bigger and bigger.
Thank you. I want to say that I'm hoping this isn't cut. My life has been shaped by people like you that have shown faith in me even when I didn't believe in myself. You continue to show faith in others, and that's inspiring. So this leadership is just a reflection of all the love and caring that's been poured into me and the support that's been provided. So shout out to you. Shout out to you for doing this. Shout out to you for always helping others. And I hope you don't ever stop doing that and you continue doing it. I know you won't because it's in your DNA to just help others, even if it's kids at Jobs for Youth.
Yeah.
Thank
RIP Jobs for Youth, by the way. I wish, right? But
it's gone?
It's gone, yeah. And
all
I don't know if
here's this. It's true thing. When I am done with all of this stuff and I'm up there in the charts again, I want to bring back a Jobs for Youth. I'm going to create a Jobs for Youth. Please sit on the board.
I'd be there.
We need Jobs for Youth. Create a Jobs for Youth for Chicago and a Jobs for Youth for Milwaukee.
There you go.
We'll start there.
Count me in. You have fueled me for the day. I appreciate you very much. And say hi to Katie, who I still haven't met, but I will. Okay.
For sure.
All right, friend.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
As always, thank you so much for listening to Who's Missing. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. It only takes a few seconds and truly makes a huge difference. And if you want to hear from us more than just once a week, you can follow us on Instagram or check out our website where you can subscribe to our newsletter, read about our guests, check out a bunch of awesome resources, or send us a message if you have questions or comments. Feedback is welcome. Sounds great, right? Yeah, join us. What are you waiting for? Visit us at www.who'smissingpodcast.com or on IG at Who's Missing Podcast. Talk to you soon.